what's going on, guys? Welcome to another day in the 10-year YouTube celebration. Yesterday was day 22, today is day 23, and on the last one, I talked all about the video remakes that I started doing, the whole concept there, and why I wanted to do them. And today, I'm going to be talking about when Tyson and I sat down just a few years ago and did a live live, it was pre-recorded, but a live in the moment for us reaction to all three of our past favorite WrestleMania's top 6 videos. And today I'm going to be talking about that process, why we wanted to do it, and what we said at the time, and how I feel about that now. So, the original top 6 favorite WrestleMania's video, so we've done 3. 4 if you include the reaction, but that wasn't us doing another one. I would like to do another one, but that would also require me to probably, really get back into watching wrestling, and I haven't done that in a while. Different conversation, of course. But yeah, so the original idea was back in 2016. That was the first one. I was probably at, my peak of, being into it, following everything, watching basically everything. Basically watching everything WWE at the time, and because I had already fallen off of watching TNA at the time, and I would very shortly after branch out and start watching other things outside of WWE and TNA. But yeah, so I was watching a lot, following everything. I was still following everything. I was watching, everything WWE. And, again, I was making content very regularly on 2K16 at the time, going into 2K17, and I had been slowly bringing Tyson in. He was, of course, we were still doing the original universe. He was still involved at that point. My family had moved back to where we currently are at the time, which allowed Tyson and I to record together again. And I just knew that I wanted to get Tyson involved for some of the top 6 stuff, and this was the first one that I managed to get him involved in. And to this point, let me pull up my top 6 playlist. Actually, I don't know why I opened up a new tab there. I didn't need to do that. But yeah, let me pull up my top 6 playlist for the sake of it, because it might be the only one Tyson's actually been a part of, was just the favorite WrestleMania's videos. The favorite WrestleMania videos are the only top 6 videos he's ever been a part of. So yeah, I knew I wanted to get him involved. I eventually was able to talk him into it, and we did that video in 2016. I've talked about this so many times before. It looks and sounds like utter garbage. Don't check it out. It's not good. And that's why I wanted to do a remake of it in 2017, because I knew that we didn't explain ourselves very well. We really didn't say anything for why we picked what we did, why we felt the way that we did. We didn't really, have any explanation whatsoever. We had a little bit for, a couple of the entries, but not very much. We didn't research anything. We just made our list that day on the fly. And, yeah, it wasn't very good. I knew things would change, especially since we came off of WrestleMania 33 in 2017, and we both liked that show a lot at the time. Do I still like that show? I have no idea. But we both liked that show a lot at the time, had a lot of good moments on it. And I was like, okay, we can do I know we can do this better now. Let's do that. And again, Tyson was down for it. He was getting more involved at that point anyway. So yeah, we sat down and we did it. And then I split that one into 2 parts. Here's Tyson's list, here's my list. And then that's really all we did. So in 2016, my list was, I had a tie at number 6, being WrestleMania 28 and WrestleMania 23. Would I have 28 on there now? Absolutely not. there are good matches on that show. It's not one of the worst WrestleManias, but I don't love that show. And even having a more, like, even appreciating and respecting that first matchup between Cena and The Rock, I still don't care for that show as much anymore. It is funny, though. I actually do prefer the Cena Rock Once in a Lifetime to Punk and Jericho at this point, and those two are, like, for me, they're two of, like, the most influential wrestlers, you know? Like, CM Punk is literally the reason why I became, like, a big fan in the first place, and Jericho, for quite a while, for many years, was my favorite wrestler ever. So, but yeah, like, I remember, like, the more time I've put into, like, thinking about stuff like this, and thinking about this show specifically, 28, I'm like, God, I really remember nothing about Punk and Jericho, like, the match to see who's the best in the world, you know? Like, their street fight at Extreme Rules was a very good match. I remember that. And, like, I remember Jericho actually making the feud even more personal and, like, calling into question, you know, Punk's sobriety, like, his straight edge lifestyle, and talking about how Punk's family isn't straight edge, and et cetera, et cetera. You know, very basic storytelling stuff there, but it did work, and it really helped make the story feel more important. Whereas 28, like, it's just like, oh, hey, Jericho didn't technically get beat in the Elimination Chamber match. We're both calling ourselves the best in the world. Who's actually the best in the world? And the match was kind of, like, it wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't bad. It was fine. But it was just like, eh? Especially now, it's just like, eh? It's okay. But, like, I can think of so many other Punk matches and so many other Jericho matches that I'd rather watch than this match with them together, you know? Like, so yeah, like, 28 would not be on my list at all. I was rambling there. 23, I don't know. I have a weird soft spot for 23, and there's, again, stuff on there I like a lot. Like, Taker and Batista, great. Cena HBK, great. I like the Money in the Bank ladder match a lot. But, like, you take some of those really great matches, and then you have, I want to say they had Kane versus the Great Khali on this show. Not good. If it wasn't Khali, it was Kane versus another really big dude who could barely move. I want to say it was Kane and Khali, but I could be wrong on that one. Then you also have Battle of the Billionaires. Bad. Kind of funny, but also bad. Then you have, like, a very mediocre match between MVP and Chris Benoit on the show. Like, so yeah. You give the women a match at WrestleMania, cool, but you barely give them any time. Yeah. You know, so yeah, for every good thing WrestleMania 23 does, there's also a bad thing. So I don't know if it would be on my list, but I do have a weird soft spot for the show. Also in 2016, I had WrestleMania 21. To be honest, no, it would not be on my list. Because I remember nothing about this show outside of the Money in the Bank ladder match. And obviously, you know, the two main events. Like, both world title matches and the Money in the Bank, you know, obviously. Kind of the same thing I said for 23, to be honest. Like, I remember nothing about this show outside of that. I don't really like either world title match on this show. So the only thing I do like is the first Money in the Bank ladder match. You know what I mean? Oh no. Also, the streak match, Taker and Orton's very good as well. For a moment, I did forget that match was on 21. But yeah, that match and the Money in the Bank ladder match are both very good. I don't really like the world title matches, and I can't remember anything off the top of my head right now that happened on that show. So it probably wouldn't be on my list as well. Then I had WrestleMania 26, and I still don't know why. Probably, like, strictly because of HBK and Taker Streak versus Career, but, like, that match is great, but in ring it's not better than the one previous. I'll stand by that. Actually, is anyone arguing that? I don't think anyone's arguing that, right? Like, everyone says, yeah, like, the match at WrestleMania 25 is a better in-ring, but then, like, they made up for it in 26 because the story and the stakes were greater. So, like, yeah. So they're kind of, like, on equal footing in my head, you know? But yeah, besides that match, like, you have a very mediocre match between Triple H and Sheamus. You have a pretty mediocre match between Cena and Batista. You have a really mediocre match between Edge and Chris Jericho. Very mediocre. That the only reason they didn't put the fucking world title back on Edge was just so they could have Jack Swagger cash in on Jericho fucking 2 days later. 26 is not a very good show. It's not, again, it's not one of the worst shows ever, but, like, it's fine. I've never been a big fan of it. I just don't know why I had it here on my 2016 list. Then I had WrestleMania 25, which is a one-match show, and you know exactly what one match I put this show on here for. Also, putting that above WrestleMania 26. Look, okay. Shawn Taker 1 was great, but also, it's a one-match show. That's the only match on that show. And WrestleMania 26, like, okay, I will take I'll take a great match, maybe a couple of good matches, and a bunch of mediocre matches over a one-match show. Especially if that show is WrestleMania. No, give me more. Give me better. Give me better. Don't give me more. Give me better. Anyway, yeah. No. So anyway, 25 certainly would not be on my list. It is one of the worst WrestleManias. It's a bad WrestleMania. But yeah, it would not be on my list now. And it was not in the 2017 list. Then I have WrestleMania 20, which, again, would it be on my list? No. It wouldn't. Today, like, it would not be on my list today. It's a fine WrestleMania, but it's also got way too many matches. It's way too long of a show. And the biggest moment of the show is hard to go back and watch now for very obvious reasons. And that does take away from it a little bit. Like, again, both world title matches, fantastic. And there's also a bunch of other really good matches on that show. But again, there's too many matches on the show. It's way too long. And the very obvious controversy from 2007 does factor in a little bit as well with the final moments of the show. Could it still make my list? It could, but I doubt it. And then the only one on my list that genuinely probably would still make my list, to be honest, from 2016 anyway, would be my number one, WrestleMania 24. And again, I don't know why, but 24, I've always had a very special place in my heart for. I love WrestleMania 24. Like, again, I don't know what it is. It's just like, I might eventually find I might eventually, sit down, try and write a script for it or something. I don't know. But, I've always had a very special place in my heart for WrestleMania 24. I love this show, and it's basically always been my favorite WrestleMania. So, and it is a very good show. I think it's top tier for sure. Even if no one else would put it at number one. So, yeah. That would be the only one from my list in 2016 that would more than likely still be on my list today. Tyson's list in 2016, to run through it a little bit, I'll be pretty quick. He also had WrestleMania 28, but I actually don't know why. I actually don't know why. I'd have to go back and watch the reaction video for that. And I'm not going to do that right now. But he had 28. He had WrestleMania 29 in 2016. This is his list in 2016. I should specify. He had WrestleMania 29. Then he had WrestleMania 24, WrestleMania 20, WrestleMania 30, and WrestleMania 27. And he hates himself for putting 27 at number one in 2016 because we commented on that a lot in the reaction video. And I had to keep reminding him that the reason why he had 27 on his list at all was because at the time, his favorite wrestler is Edge. So at the time, he had a lot of sentimental value attached to the show with being Edge's last match for so long. And that was the only reason it made the list, and I had to keep reminding him of that, you know. But like I can tell you for sure, like that would not be on his list now. I don't know what would be on his list, to be honest. I could not tell you, but I know that for sure would not be. If I had to guess, he probably would still have 30 and 24, maybe. And I don't know. That'd be an interesting one. I would like to talk to him about that. Maybe do another video for it. But then, in 2017, my list, I still had WrestleMania 23, and it was still at the bottom of the list. I still had WrestleMania 21, still in the same exact position from 2016. And then I had WrestleMania 28, which I had sitting at my number 4 spot. Then I had WrestleMania X7, which, you know, a lot of holes in my wrestling fan cred here, but is that even a thing? No, it's not. No wrestling fan has cred. We're all a bunch of losers. We're all a bunch of losers, and we're proud of it. But anyway, I had X7, and like, okay, look, I don't know why. Because where I'm gonna say pro wrestling cred here, I've never actually watched X7 in full. I've only watched specific matches. The matches I've seen are good. Like, I mean, okay, like Vince and Shane, weirdly, very good match. It's all about like the weird McMahon family bullshit, and somehow it actually works to elevate this match. Like again, the way the crowd pops in the Astrodome, the way the crowd pops in Houston when Linda races from her chair. I mean, come on, like all-timer there, all-time moment there. But obviously the main event, TLC, etc., etc. Very good show, one of the best ever. But yeah, then I had WrestleMania 33, which, again, would it make my list now? I don't know, probably not. But again, I was very high in the show at the time, and then number 1 was still WrestleMania 24. So yeah, 2016, 2017, I did have some crossover, obviously. There's some things I wouldn't have in my list at all. But, you know, that was what I said in 2017. To go over Tyson's 2017 real quick. Again, he went from number 1 to number 6 for WrestleMania 27. And he was still upset with himself for doing that. So, again, I can tell you, 27 would not be on his list, because it is one of the worst WrestleManias ever. But again, I still had to remind him at the time that it still had that sentimental value attached to it. Then he had 29 still on his list. Then he had 31, which, you know what? Admittedly, 31, solid show. Awful build-up, but solid show. He still had 24 on there. He still had 30. And then he put 33 at number 1. So yeah. That was running through all of that. That was running through all 3 of the favorite WrestleManias videos that we did, what we said at the time, talking about why, you know, I wanted to do the top 6 videos anyway, why I wanted to do the favorite WrestleManias, why I wanted to bring Tyson in, why I wanted to do the remake of them in 2017, and I guess to talk about the reaction video a little bit. Shortly before I started the original year's reactions, and because of how much I learned that I could actually provide cool, kind of like, insight to everything, I wanted to do that with Tyson for the top 6 favorite WrestleManias videos, all of them, in one video. It was cool and a lot of fun. We reacted to all of them, gave a lot of, you know, insight and everything. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And that's why I did that. And that's really all that I've got for that, to be honest. That was talking all about our favorite WrestleManias videos and why we did what we did. That was day 23 of the 10-year YouTube celebration. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope you join me for day 24 with whatever that'll happen to be. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.